provide support and incentives for job creation and investment. What's your position on mechanisms like local tax incentive programs, such as TIFs and LVEDC? We'll start with you, Mr. McClure.
Yes, as I think I alluded to earlier, through my nearly decade service on Northampton County Council, we've had LVEDC, we've had TIFs before us, and I think I voted for all of them. And at the end of the day, it was because we analyzed the situation and we realized that on balance, the benefits were going to outweigh the temporary loss of tax revenue. So that's something that's part of my record. Being for these types of incentives is something that I've actually done through my decades of service. Now I think what we need to do is balance out the benefits of those tax increment financing schemes and regimes and see, are they creating jobs? Are they worth the tax revenue that we're putting them in? Especially if more county resources will have to be put into maintaining those regimes. Thank you.
The TIFs, the LVEDCs, they've been around a long time. One of the things that I learned as when I served as mayor was how can I get my own borough moving forward. I said we had limited resources, you do what you can. Within Northampton County, we're in an area that we benefit from having the casinos, and the county would benefit by having revenues come to us. When I came in as county executive, I found that those monies were pretty much laying idle on the shelf. Through DCED, I asked him to put together a program and a plan called the Community Investment Partnership Program, which took those funds and channeled them as grant opportunities back into these small communities. Because economic development isn't just the 5,000 employee company that we're going after. If you go down a borough and look at the number of empty storefronts, if you have 2 people, you can open a storefront. It's small business. They're going to hire someone. They're going to hire someone else. And that's really where economic development really begins at the most basic level. On the flip side, we also then have to coordinate for the major opportunities that we have. We do have to be able to take advantage of TIFs and LVEDCs, and actually, as Mr. Armstrong said, you have to think out of the box. You have to become creative in leveraging those resources the best as possible, and that's really what we're talking about. In a pool, regardless of how large the valley is, there's a limited set of resources, and the question is, how do we take that pool and continue to leverage that? And it is through the partnerships that have been created and that we further do. I do believe that with the success LVEDC under Don's leadership has been, and Becky Bradley on the LVPC, these are the types of organizations that also need additional funding in order to continue and expand the mission that we've asked them to do moving forward.
Mr. Osborne.
Thank you. I'm going to try to be a little bit more specific on this question because I think it's an interesting one. Because with the reduced appetite of our state government to provide economic incentives, we're forced more than ever to determine our priorities at our own local level. That's a situation that I hope will change soon, but that's the environment we're in today. While we'll never be able to match the funds our state government can provide on the local level, we do always have ways to demonstrate to prospective employers that we welcome their investment in our community. Honestly, my support for tax incentives will be situational and would be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. Businesses assume a level of risk when coming to a new community, and the community assumes a certain level of risk as well. You never want to eliminate risk on either side because risk cements the relationship and makes everyone work to help the other be successful. Take away that balance and you leave things to chance. I would apply, but if not for test, which means to me, if not but for a tax incentive, the development would not happen. If the development would not happen without incentive, then I would evaluate the community's interest, the host community's interest in that project, the business's willingness to use local labor, and provide ongoing support to our community programs, and entertain a clawback agreement wherein if the performance or employment guarantees are not met, some or all that tax incentive would be pulled back. That, I think, is the agreement that works for both parties.
And Mr. Armstrong.
Well, my position, again, as president of the Whitehall Township Board is, and I agree with Brad on this, you do have to look at it in individual companies. What are they bringing as far as job growth to your area? And a lot of people with the TIF think that you're just not paying taxes, and that's incorrect. You're paying taxes on a percentage increase. But when you're looking at blighted properties, for example, the Hamilton Crossings, I think that's an excellent example where we had a definite blighted area. And in that area, for a $20 million investment, you're getting $20 million worth of new construction. You're getting $20 million worth of wages. You're getting increased taxes. So in that particular case, it's definitely a great investment. For us in Whitehall, we have 32 blighted properties. They're sitting vacant for 30 to 50 years. So we have just changed our zoning laws to allow it to be easier to come into these properties and change them. And because of our tips and LVEDC, we are now having an old shirt factory now going to be a affordable housing project, which is definitely needed in this area. We keep talking about attracting workers, but we have to have places for them to live. So this was a necessary thing for Whitehall Township to do. Our Lehigh Valley Dairy, if you've all gone through Whitehall, you've seen how long that's been vacant. Without LVEDC, we're not going to get anybody to come in there. So these programs do provide the incentives, and we need to use them. But then again, I will agree with Brad. They're not just pieces of cake to be handed out to everybody in the line. They have to be evaluated. What are the job growth? What is the potential tax income that would come from it? And from that, then we would make our decisions. Thank you.